Buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the show about absolutely everything and nothing. So I've been meaning to do this for a long time, right? But it takes a lot of planning. It takes having time off. It takes just fucking, pardon my language. That's good. It just takes time, man. Like, I've been trying to do a podcast for a minute. Mind you, I already did one, but different circumstances and different events stopped that from continuing. So I finally was able to create one by myself that I could do, and I just didn't know what the fuck to talk about mostly, right? So thus the name, the show about absolutely everything and nothing. Right? So that'll be the name. It's just kind of like, it takes time, man. After that pandemic, it's been rough, pretty rough, whatever you want to call it. But this show's pretty much going to be about everything, my opinion on everything, my opinion, nobody else's. I really don't care what anybody else thinks. This will be views from my perspective, from my experience, from what I've been through, of how I see life, not how everybody else sees life, right? So if you are in like future episodes, just come back to this episode and go through it, because again, this is for my, so it's going to be like sort of like therapy for me, right? And I'm going to be able to like learn things as I go through it and as I build this channel and this podcast. I don't really like calling it a podcast. Let's talk about that for a second. Like I hate the idea of calling it a podcast. Like, I grew up in an era where there was just TV shows, talk shows, right? So podcasts never been a really thing. I hate calling it that. So let's call it, this is the show about absolutely everything and nothing. So technically I'm not a podcaster. More like no, not an entertainer either, because I don't care to entertain anybody. This is solely for my own agenda in a way, right? Absolutely my own benefit. It's like a learning thing for me. I'm going to learn to be self-reflective in my views and just how I see life, which could be like very not agreeable to other people perspective or views, which again, I don't mind. We are all differently brought up, especially depending on the culture, depending on your situation, how you grew up, if you had parents, if you didn't have parents, if you had one parent, if you had, your grandparents. So, and it seems like I'm rambling now, but I'm not. So anyways, yeah, this show's about absolutely everything and nothing, and that's the way I want to do it. I might have guests. I have a couple ideas. I already know I already know who's going to be one of my first guests, and that might be my boy Danny. So Danny, if you hear this is an invitation already, but I'm definitely going to text you and call you. It's been a minute. I've been busy. A lot of shit has happened, but we're back in the motherfucking studio. You already know, Danny. Yeah, I'm definitely back in the studio. As Some of you know I do music as well, so that's been like put away for a minute, but I'm back in that too. Like I like doing music. A little bit of background about me. I love doing music, film, photography, art, anything that has to do with art. I'm into it. Like I just like art, you know, to express myself artistically. I and I just don't like people doing stuff because I feel like I could have done it better. So instead of complaining and hiring people to do certain things, I just went and learned how to do it and did it myself. So, yes, I learned photography, filming, editing. Danny has been one of the kind of like pillars, I guess. Hold on, I'm getting a call from somebody. Speak of the devil, not the devil.
Tapping you on?
Whoa, wait a minute, man. I'm live on a podcast right now. I just want you to know that. Don't incriminate yourself, all right?
Okay, fuck by light.
What do you want, bro?
Yo, you want or what? I got an hour and a half to play before I pick up my daughter.
An hour and a half? Yeah, I'm doing a podcast right now. Let me wrap this up and then I'll let you know, all right?
I'll let you know what the fuck. This don't like me at all.
Yo, stop cursing, man. This is a podcast live.
All right, bye. Oh, yeah, man.
All right.
Have a good one.
All right, so yes, I play Call of Duty live. I am a streamer, not really, but I like to stream my shit because I like to go back and learn from my mistakes. Exactly. I do everything just to learn. I do everything to benefit my learning and my growing, and that's exactly what the fuck I'm doing, right? So that's one of my friends that I play with. Sometimes I ask myself, why am I friends with him? Because he's such an asshole sometimes. There's a lot of people out there like that, right? You become friends with a lot of people, and even though you might not see them every day or shit like that, but you meet them in your path of life, and then you stay friends with them. And sometimes you ask yourself, why am I friends with these people? This motherfucker right here, right? Pardon my language. There's gonna be a lot of cursing, so let me get all my pardon my language out of the ways. Sorry. If you don't like cursing, this channel and this show might not be for you. But other than that, yeah, there's a lot of people that we become friends with, and sometimes we ask ourselves, why are we friends with this type of people? Why? Why are we friends? Why do we put ourselves through that, right? Even though it's like, I don't even understand it sometimes. But, it's whatever now. As you grow up, you really start to lose a lot of friends. And you start to understand that you don't need certain type of friends around you. You know how many friends I've blocked? I mean, I've been going through some shit too, but other than that, like, you start to look at life differently after a couple of decades, I guess you could say, or certain year marks. It's just surprisingly, you look back and you're like, why was I friends with that motherfucker or that person? You know, because not every person is a motherfucker, but sometimes like, did I really need to be friends with that person? I don't think so. And some friends you miss. You're like, man, it was some good times. We used to hang out and all the other stuff. But then I think the more responsible people kind of like separated and became, we drifted apart. There's some people that we still keep in touch, even though we don't see each other maybe once in a blue moon, or we keep in contact. Like the guy they call me that, he's one of my friends, but like I don't see this motherfucker. We were in the army together and shit like that, but we play video games together, and that's how we keep in touch and shit, basically. It's not like we see each other every day, but we fucking play video games, at least once or twice a week. And that motherfucker moved to a completely different state. So, friendship, right? I want to talk more about that, but we'll leave that for because I could get into it. But this is supposed to be an intro, an intro episode. This is my first episode, season 1, episode 1 of the show about absolutely everything and nothing. And I almost fucked it up right there. You see, I was about to switch it up. I keep doing it, like I keep switching it up, but I have to learn like to be consistent, I guess, in the way I say it. The show about absolutely everything and nothing. I wasn't too sure about that. Sometimes I want to switch it up, like the show about absolutely nothing and yet everything, or the show about absolutely everything and yet nothing. The only thing that changed was the word yet. But yeah, so I'm a dog person. I don't like cats. I don't even know why I whisper that, but I don't want the people in the back to hear me. So yeah, I like dogs. I'm a dog person. I got 4 dogs, and they're pretty much my babies. Yep. I just have weird stories about cats. I think one day, one of the episodes, I'll tell you a couple of stories. Once I get to that point of why I dislike cats so much, you know? And they don't bother me if they're around, but I mean, certain cats are cool. I think it's just maybe the cat is not as bad, but maybe the person the cat is attached to, if that makes sense. Like sometimes certain animals are not bad, but the person they're attached to, and then I kind of feel bad for certain type of animals or pets when I see them with owners, and I'm like, what the fuck? You know, like there's another topic, like some people are not meant to be parents and some people are not meant to have pets. I mean, I think I was that type of person maybe back in the day. Like the way I was living my life, I was not meant to have any pets. I went through a period of time that I didn't have time to take care of a dog. And I had a couple of dogs and I had to get rid of them. You know, I had to go put them back in the SPCA or stuff like that, you know. I had to call animal control. I lost 2 when I joined the army, left it to my brothers, you know, but that was my fault. They didn't know no better how to, you know, take care of my dogs while I was away. So that was my mistake. But again, like I was young, I was, you know, inadequate to make a decision or just to be responsible to have pets at that time. My lifestyle and just the way I lived and just my aspect of life at that time. It wasn't meant for me to have pets, and I miss a couple of them. It's like the one that I miss the most is Charlie, cute little dog that was stolen from me. Don't want to get into that, but and then I had Valentin. He ran away, couldn't find him. And I think that's pretty much the only one. I had two other ones. I think I had 2 pit bulls. One of them died, and the other one I had to take back to the SPCA. So, yeah, it was just a rough time. But now that I'm like at the point in my life that I am now, like I am so happy that I'm like one of my goals in life was always I want to reach a certain level economically and just comfortable, you know, part of life where I'm comfortable enough to have a pet and be able to take care of the pet and be able to know that if something happens, the pet will be taken care of and it's not, you know, because I rescued one and I think I had an option to give him back, but no. I said, no, you're my responsibility now. So I'm not going to be that type of person I was back in the day and just, you know, nah, I had to be responsible. So now I think it's this like 3rd year having him. And I think a year after I bought another one, a little tiny thing, you know, but they're amazing, man. And they make your life so much better sometimes. That's what people don't understand. I'm more of a animal person than a people person. And I think you're gonna get this from me a lot. Like I don't like people very much. You know? It's just I think I have so much experience with just how much of a human being can do the damages and just how volatile a human being can be when you're around them, especially in certain situations. So I think I'd rather just be around animals. You know, at least you know what an animal is and you know what it would do and how it will react if put in a certain situation or position, right? But human beings are the most intricate and the most complicated, and the mentality is just very complex to understand of the actions they take. Like sometimes you think you know somebody and they'll flip it 360 and you're like, what the fuck was that? I never thought, or I never knew that you could do such a thing. I'm pretty sure there's people that think about that when they think of me, right? I always put myself in different perspectives and different steps and different shoes. Like I always try to put myself in whatever, you know, somebody else's shoes and their perspective. That's just how I live life now. I think that's how I live life most of my life. I just always try to be like, you know, just plan B, plan C, plan D. But sometimes we just don't know. Like that's one of the biggest mysteries to me is why did that person react that way when that happened? Because when that happened to me, I didn't react that way. I rationalized it a different way than they did. But sometimes, I think that's another one of my flaws. I think I just overthink certain things, and it's hard for me to let go of certain things in certain situations, and I'm like, yeah, it drives me crazy. But I've been learning to let go a lot of things. You know, this is the reason I'm starting this PODCAST. I don't want to say it, but this is one of the reasons I'm starting this, so I can just grow a little more mentally. You know, I just maybe get a different perspective. I think if I do this, and it's like sort of like a journal, right? You write it down, and then maybe a month or two later, you go back, and you're like, wow, that's where my mind was at that moment, at that time, and now look at me. You know, because we are, you know, a species that tends to change their mind, and it could be, you know, consistently, but then it could be drastic. Like there's so much to humans. That's what I like to call people. I like to call people humans. Like I tell people I don't like certain humans. Like I don't like certain human beings the way they live or the way they react to certain situations. And yep, we're going down on a rabbit hole, and that's gonna be done a lot because I like to freaking just think about everything, and that's absolutely everything and nothing, right? If you don't give a fuck about what I'm saying, you don't. It could be nothing to you. If you could relate and you think about the same things, then it could be everything to you. Yeah. So, season 1, episode 1, the show about absolutely everything and nothing. I'm still like iffy about that. And this is just my, me thinking aloud. But there's certain things I want to do, right? So I think in every episode I want to like learn a new word. And then like today I was playing with Snacks. That's what we're gonna call him, to not use his real name. That's his name in the game. And I said, and then I was playing with somebody else, just a random person. And then I was like, if you can learn a new word every day, what's a new word that you could do? And he said prismatic. Prismatic. And I kind of had an idea of what prismatic is. I just, I guess the root word would be prism, and that's automatically like, as soon as he said prismatic, I'm like, yeah, it's got to be something with a prism, right? So then I looked it up because I didn't really know the whole definition, and it's relating to or having the form of a prism or prisms of an instrument incorporating a prism or prisms, a prismatic compass. That'd be an example, right? A flash of prismatic light on the edge of the glass. So, yeah, that's the new word. Not really liking it. I wouldn't use that word in a day-to-day basis or just in, I don't even think in a conversation maybe. But there's the word for this one, prismatic. Let me see. Yeah, prismatic. That's how they pronounce it, I guess, apparently. I know you don't hear it, but I can hear it in my headphones. Prismatic. I don't even want to fucking say it like that. I'm gonna just say prismatic. Right? But let's flip it around. Oh, another thing is, yo hablo español. El español no muy bueno. So you gotta bear with me. I speak Spanish, but very, very unorthodox, you could say. Sometimes I don't have no accent at all, and I'm not gonna say it. I want to see what people think of when they hear me speak Spanish. I think everybody's gonna have an opinion, and then there's those I gotta learn to. So one of the goals for this show is to say the least curse words. I'm gonna try my best to be clean and not use curse words. I think that's gonna be the hardest part of doing this show. It's just not using curse words. ¿Tú me entiendes? Porque si no me entiendes, ¿para qué te lo digo? Y si no te lo digo, pues no puedes entender. Pero vamos a ver. Prismatic in Spanish. So we're gonna do it in Spanish too. Prismatic in Spanish. Prismático. Eso sería la palabra masculina y la femenina sería prismática. Entonces, ¿cuál es la definición de traducción en español? No. Prismático. Quiero apostar que es diferente en español. Prismático. Definición. El frío congeló el agua formando figuras prismáticas. Prismático, prismática, que tiene forma de prisma. Es lo mismo. Prácticamente lo mismo. Sí, no. De una de las palabras que yo escogería. Entre veces se me olvida cómo decir ciertas cosas. Entonces, ahí se van a dar cuenta que no puedo hablar el español gramáticamente correcto o verbal. Porque hay personas que me corrigen. Pero ya tengo años diciendo ciertas palabras de ciertas formas que empecé a pensar que así es como se dice. Pero tengo que aprender a no decir no, así se dice. Pero yo no tengo educación en español, ¿verdad? No tengo educación en español. Creo que lo más alto que he llegado es 3er grado. Prácticamente el inglés ha sido como mi primer lengua. O sea, español es mi primer lengua, pero no la estudié. No estudié el español, no gramáticamente ni verbalmente. Lo puedo hablar y lo entiendo, pero no correctamente. ¿Verdad? So, now you know. Yeah. I don't think you would think of it if you don't know me, I guess, and if you do know me. Because when I rap in Spanish too, it doesn't sound like I don't know Spanish, you know? And sometimes people tell me I talk like I rap, not in this show, because I'm trying to, you know, I guess talk a certain way because of it, because it's a show. So typically that's another thing, right? So we don't talk the same everywhere or with the same person. Certain people I talk differently. So I guess like I'm like a chameleon there when it comes to talking to somebody, because sometimes I'll start picking up their accent or I start picking up the way they talk, and then it sounds like I'm copying them or I'm like making fun of them, but I'm not. It really just happens naturally sometimes. So sometimes I'm talking like to like Mexicans, and then I'll like pick up their words, and then all of a sudden like the accent starts to come out, because I don't have a fucking accent like myself. I don't have a an accent like, right. So then I start talking, or even like in English, sometimes I sound like I'm from the South or something, and then I gotta learn how to talk properly as well. Sometimes I don't even pronounce certain words the way they're supposed to be pronounced, because I'm so used to it. Like where I grew up, it's kind of like half and half, the South and the North. So now, like I'm like, and then I like to learn how certain people say certain things. But there's a couple of language. Like I want to learn a different language as well. I want to learn. I try French. I don't think it's for me. It's too much. Eh. I took it for a year in high school, and I don't like the way. Maybe it was the teacher. I don't know. Maybe it was the teacher. I want to learn Portuguese. Portuguese I can sort of understand a little bit because some of the words, but I think it depends. I think not the real Portuguese, but the Portuguese from Brazil, which I kind of understand a couple of words or certain phrases. To French, sometimes. I understand Spaniard because Spain, whatever. What other language? I like Italian. Like I wish I could learn how to talk Italian. Like that's one of my favorite languages and one of the countries I want to visit. So I definitely want to learn Italian. Maybe I'll practice on here. And maybe, if there's any Italian people hear me, they'll make fun of me because well, you can make fun of me, I don't care. But yeah, I'm trying to learn that, I like the way it rolls off the tongue. Even though in Spanish, we got that R, not like R, but because, my last name got like a couple R's, and then we'll get into it one time. That's another thing. I don't understand my last name. How did I? I'm going to look up that one time and discuss it here, how my name. Because I don't like my last name. I'm used to it now, but I like it in Spanish. I don't like it in English because people just don't know how to pronounce it. And I'm just like, I'm so used to it now. I really don't care anymore. And that's what I'm called all the time. So it kind of like, I guess I'm stuck with it. I mean, I had a chance to change it and I was going to take it, but then I wasn't prepared. I didn't prepare and I didn't think of it. I wanted to treat it like when I get a tattoo, like I'll get a tattoo, but a year after maybe, right? So I'll draw a tattoo and then I'll look at the design for a whole year. And then if I still like the design that I drew, then I get it tatted up because it's kind of permanent. So, I mean, with technology that we have now, it's like you could remove it, but I don't want to go through that pain. I would rather know that I want it, right? So I just sit with a tattoo for a whole year in a piece of paper. I draw it and then I sit with it for a whole year. And then if I still like feel strongly that I want it after a year, then that tells me and that like solidifies that, yeah, I'm going to get that tattoo, because I know some people are just like, I'm going to get this one. And then they regret it. And then I don't want to be that. I don't want to regret because, like I think I kind of half regret one of the first ones that I got because I didn't do that process. I didn't do the process. It's a quote and then but I still like the quote. I just don't like the way, kind of like where I got it tatted up pretty much. I've been debating about covering it up with something else, but then I'm like, no, you know what? Sometimes you got to live with your mistakes and, look at it so that way they remind you that life is full of mistakes and you are going to make mistakes along the way. And therefore, sometimes you got to live with them just to see how far you come in the process that you have developed. Because now I'm at a point where I go through a process before I even make such a, decision that's going to be looking back at me in the future. So, yeah. I want to play music and I want to do a whole bunch of stuff in the show. But music is kind of tricky nowadays because everything's copyrighted, and then I want to upload it to YouTube, so no visuals right now, but I'm still gonna upload it to YouTube. Um, visuals will come later because I'm still kind of like trying to set up my little studio here where I'm at. But visuals will be coming soon, and then I will have a couple of guests that I want to bring. So again, shout out to my boy Danny, number one producer for me. I've been working with him for a long time. I think he just did a podcast with his wife. I don't know if I'm putting that information out there. Sorry. But I think I saw it. I haven't watched it. I want to watch it. I want to get some time to watch it because I like listening to certain podcasts. Yeah, those I can call podcasts because they're not my show. Mine is not a podcast. Just want to remind myself that it's not a podcast, it's a show. And yeah, I think a lot of people are going to get kicked out of this because I'm going to get kicked out of this. Cause, shit, I didn't know I could talk this much. Apparently, I can't now that I'm realizing it. And I think I've always known that to be true. But I learned that because I went through something this year. And I did therapy. I'd done a couple of therapies, and then with a different therapist. And then, I went through a program as well. So I learned to accept certain things. And then I kind of found a lot of things about me that I didn't know. And the decisions that I made, And that's why we're here now. So I'm finally like just saying, fuck it again. I gotta come up with some words to substitute the curse words that I want to say so much. I'm very verbal. Like I'm very, my vernacular. It's not like I said, it depends on who I'm talking to. But most of the time, like I want to curse. I don't know. There's something about cursing. Somebody always tells me, fuckity fuck fuck fuck. That's what I sound like sometimes, and I think I do to that person. But curse words, they relate, and they relay so much emotion, depending on the tone and the way you use it. So, yeah, man, kudos to curse words and whoever created curse words. I'm pretty sure, like, I think I could create a curse word, because I think somebody just that sounds offensive. Like I'm gonna look it up one time. But you know what? I think I'm gonna do that. Let's see the word FUCK. I don't want to keep saying it on the show, but I think I kind of knew. I think if it's true, it's gonna come up here. So before I even look it up, I think FUCK stands for fornicating under something, the king's order. That's what I heard before, right? But I'm actually going to look it up now of like the origins. So let's see the origin of the word FUCK. It's German. Early 16th century of German origin compares Swedish dialect Folka and Dutch dialect Folklen. Possibly from an Indo-European root meaning strike, shared by Latin pugnus, fist, right? And the definition is to have sex with someone, of two people have sex, ruin or damage. Wow, I didn't even know that was in there. I knew the first one, but ruin or damage. Fuck, plural noun. An act or in an instance of having sex. Yeah, it's sexual, but okay, here we go. So in Wikipedia, I don't know if I trust this very much, but it says F-U-C-K. I was about to say it again. F-U-C-K is an English language profanity which often refers to the act of sexual intercourse, but it's also commonly used as an intensifier or to convey disdain. While its origin is obscure, it's usually considered to be first attested to around 1475 CE. Charlie Echo. In modern usage, the term fuck and its derivatives, such as fucker and fucking, are used as a noun, a verb, and an adjective, an interjection, or an adverb. There are many common phrases that employs the word as well as compounds that incorporate it, such as mother, flucker, flucker, or fluckawit. I'm just saying it because it doesn't make sense. Fuckwit, fuck up, fuck nut, fucktard, and fuck up. Yeah, fucktard, I don't like that. I don't think, it just sounds dumb. I don't know. It is unclear whether the word has always been considered I don't even know how to pronounce this word. I'm not even gonna lie. Or if not, when it first came to be used to describe often an extremely angry, hostile, or belligerent manner, unpleasant circumstances or people in it. Yeah, this don't. I was trying to see who created it or where it came from. Yeah, no, it's not giving me that. But anyways, moving along because I don't want to. Yeah, man. So I love music, so I think I'm gonna start doing video reactions too of music in certain albums because I do music myself, so and I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't like my shit, which is okay because I like rap poetry. I rap about kind of like what I see in life, right? I don't really like rap to be famous or anything like that. One of the reasons I'm still not, because I hate doing that shit. And then I hate, like, what I look at art as creative. Once you pay me for certain art, you know, if you're paying me to do, and it's something with art, it like takes the art away. So sometimes I like it, you know, to do it without getting paid. Like it has to come out of me creatively, visually, you know. I don't want to be forced. Like if you like, oh, can you do this for me? And I'm like, because then I gotta hear your opinion, and hey, I don't like that. Not that I don't like hearing people's opinion, but if I'm gonna do a job for you, then I gotta do what you like, and it's not what I like. It's not my art anymore. So then, you know, in the first place, you came to me because you like my art, but now you want to change it. So no, I'm good. So that's why I don't like, you know, because the music industry is very, very fucking, it's not a good industry, bro. It's really volatile. It's violent. It's very controlling, you know, demeaning. So no, I like to do my own thing. But yeah, that's a lot. Shit, I didn't know I could talk this much. Probably be longer. This is probably not even a lot, to tell you the truth. I think it's gonna be like way longer than this when I'm like really get down to it, really, you know, really start it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyways, this is season 1, episode 1. I was gonna say episode 2. No, season 1, episode 2. The show about absolutely everything and nothing. This will be my intro episode. Again, I'm really going to try to figure out what I really want to do with the show. Like, this is just to get me started. But yeah, man, let's get it.